right, next up we've got Fred Tatasciore. Oh, never mind, he had to run and do something. He'll be back in a minute. We've got J. Michael Tatum. We've got Brandon McGinnis. Doesn't matter what side you come in on. As he chugs coffee. Just coffee. So, like he said, we're gonna do this basic Q&A style. You're gonna line up in front of the mic. Remember, do not cue all up to the mic. That way, you know, the person that's there isn't like, who's behind me? Why are we getting really comfortable? This is not okay. So, go ahead. If you have any questions, go ahead and line up. Okay, we got one at least. No worries. And as soon as Fred gets here, he'll join and we'll get that taken care of. I mean, and once the questions are taken care of, you guys want to go on the tangent of your life story, like even though he said not to ask about it, if you want to give it, that is up to you. So I will turn this over to Senior Mario over here. Go ahead! Do it out of character, that way we can understand.
Charlotte.
What's up?
Not much. Good evening.
I don't think that mic's on.
Voice roles in your career, which one of these is the most
Hold on.
One second. Your mic's not on.
It's
Yay!
green.
It's Papa 76!
Can we turn green up just a little bit?
What?
Hello.
Hello.
Testing. A little bit. You know what? Hold on. I'm just going to switch it. I'll try it.
Good evening. All right. So, Charlotte.
Yes.
Of all the voice roles in your career, which one stands out to you as the most emotionally significant? Like, which one of these sort of changed? Like, what do you hold most sentimentally, like the most personally?
I mean, definitely Diva has changed my life over the last year or so. I've actually been working on her for over 2 years now. I started around the time right after the beta came out for Overwatch. So, you know, it's definitely impacted my life, and I feel like, you know, it's a blurry line between me and her and who I am versus who she is and her story, and I can't wait to see more of that. I would say I love being her and voicing her, but I just guest starred on We Bare Bears on the Cartoon Network as Mrs. Lee. I don't know if you guys saw it. Oh, thanks, yeah. Got a little smattering of an applause. And I wouldn't say she's somebody that I emotionally was attached to, but she's somebody that I've always played at home. And it's like, I find that, especially with any acting role, whether you're on camera or whether you're voicing, the people who you've always had in your head are the ones that come forward and are the most authentic. And so I would say I was always playing this. Oh, Mrs. Lee is this like old Korean lady who runs a spa, and the whole episode was about how the three bears go and enjoy a day at the Korean spa, and I was this like sort of dictator of the spa. So I would say that, yeah, that was my thus far my favorite character to play.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
You're welcome. Keeping awesome.
Next.
Don't be shy. Come on up.
This is for Jay. Who is your favorite character to voice out in public?
Me. I get a little better at it every day. I fall into Sebastian a lot because that voice is just fun to do, and things happen when you speak in a British accent to an American. They just go, hey, how are you, and whatever. Someone could be having a bad day, and you just go, hello, and they're like, oh, hi. It happened, and suddenly a button comes undone or something. I like the Sebastian voice. I don't know, it's something about the British. I love. He's very suave, and I'm very not, so it's fun to pretend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, as voice actors, there's voices that you guys can do, correct? So, which are voices that you guys would like to do? Like, let's say, for me, I have a very, up voice, but in the future, I would love to sound like Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
From Ursula.
Like, what's a voice that you would like to sound like?
That's actually a really good question.
I'd love to be able to sing opera really well. Like a good singing voice. You know, I mean, that would just be fun. I'd love to sing, but I mean, like, really.
Do you have like an opera role in mind that you would sing?
No! I just love music, so I'd love to just do more musically driven things. And I do have a high voice character. I always play these low voices.
But it's really fun to just do, just up here, squishy duck type of, voices. I love doing those. Thank you very much for the question.
I know that's really disconcerting, the 250-pound man.
It's amazing.
Well, I've been playing a lot of like young protagonists, like 18 to 24 range. Hi guys, what's going on? I think it'd be really fun to play like a really deep voice character, but that's kind of difficult for me to do. So maybe someday. Maybe someday.
Man, the grass is always greener, right? Because I'd love to play the 18 to 20 protagonists that I can't do anymore. Like there was a show I did called Heroic Age about 1,000 years ago. And I go and listen to it, and I was playing like this 17-year-old kid, the title character, and it was really fun to do. I can't even do that voice anymore. Like I listen to it, like, oh yeah, that's gone, that's gone, that's just painful to hear. And I would love to be able to dip back into that, because, there's a lot of 18 to 20-year-old protagonists, and I like making roles. But I'm with you, Fred. I would really love to do like more singing. I would love to sing. I'm not really a singer, but I would love to use that as an instrument. Yeah.
For me, I've always, for my on-camera dream, I love British history, and so I always wanted to be in like a Keira Knightley movie or something, but obviously I shouldn't say obviously, but it's not as practical to dream that I'm actually gonna be, I don't know, Anne Boleyn or something like that. Like I'm just not gonna be cast as that. And I've accepted that, but something that I never thought would happen that voiceover has been able to do for me was I was cast as a British character in a cartoon series. My very first cartoon series where I'm a series regular, and it's coming out in 2019. So in some ways, I was able to really fulfill a dream that I just didn't think I would ever be able to fulfill as an actor. And so I've kind of gotten that dream fulfilled. Other than that, I went out for a character, a Yeti, in some sort of Pixar or Marvel, I don't know, one of those films, and I could not get it down. So I would love to be able to do creatures. It's an art. Like there are people who just do creatures. They don't do any other voices, and they are relied upon to only do creatures. And so I would like to expand my skill set towards. Yeah, I want to be a Yeti.
You could learn that.
Thank you so much for answering for me.
Oh, okay, I'm so encouraging.
Stay safe at the convention.
Thank you. The Yeti workshop.
A Yeti workshop.
I have a question for Sean.
Hi.
Out in the mountains.
Who would
I think
Diva's,
you
Hi.
like Overwatch.
a little bit.
Just a little.
Who would Diva's favorite K-pop group be?
Well, I started off by saying that she, sort of her spirit animal was CL, and that her anthem was Hello Bitches. Thank you. But that was when I was at BlizzCon a year ago, and so I feel like things have changed since then. But I definitely think that her group is Girls' Generation, because Gigi, hello.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello? Okay, that works. Hi, I just wanted to know if you could choose any animal to exist, or to merge two animals together, what two animals would you want to exist? If you wanted to pick
Like a plua, like it would be like a apricot and a plum,
Yeah.
but we wouldn't be the animal, right?
No.
But then two animals.
No, they would exist, like a horse and a cat. I don't know.
Ooh.
I love how this is the question we're like, hang on.
Wait a minute. Because I've actually thought about this. It always turns into a dragon. Because I'm like, okay, a dog, a cat, a fish, and something that flies. That's a dragon. Okay.
I would want to merge a giant crocodile with a Pomeranian. I want to see that.
And it would be a rescue. It would
be a rescue.
What do they call your animal that's
Pama crocodile.
Yeah,
but my rescue Pama
you can take it on board.
Crocodile.
Service animal.
Support
I have my
Pama
service
crocodile.
gator. Yeah. That'd be great.
I would want there to be a cross between a grizzly bear and a French bulldog. I really just want a French bulldog the size of a grizzly bear.
Goldfish and a giraffe. just to say I did it.
It's the weirdest shaped aquarium ever.
Would it be amphibious?
It'd have to be, yeah.
Well, half of it would be.
That could be the water to swim around.
It's messy.
He's got to reach to the top of the seaweed. I don't know. Anyway.
I'm having too much fun with this. I'm like, wait a minute. What if it's like a giraffe and an anteater?
I think I would want to see a Pegasus in real life. So what is that? A horse and and something with wings. A bird? Because then wouldn't it be cool to be able to ride the horse in the air?
You could get anywhere faster, but thank you for answering my question. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
That ended up being a really good random question.
That was really great.
That was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Hey, guys.
Hello, sir. Reporting for duty. Very good, sir. Liking the outfit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's so good to finally meet you, Fred.
Nice to meet you, too.
And it's nice to see you again, Charlotte.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Nice too. I just wanted to ask all four of you this question. I asked every voice acting talent that I know of this question, and I'm actually still in college, and I remember doing an essay on voice acting, and I just want you guys to answer this question for me. Can you tell me like the most difficult process that you take throughout each of your career work? Because I've heard from many people that voice acting is it's awesome. It's so awesome. I love it. So I'm really passionate about all the work that you guys do. But do you guys think you can tell me like what's the hardest part about it? Like the biggest challenge that you have to overcome?
Not giving up. I think it's like with any performer or artist, you feel, there are days when you're like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Or, oh my gosh, this is so tough, or all the rejection. So I think that half the battle, people say, oh, you have to be talented and you have to this and work hard, blah, blah, blah. But I think tenacity is sort of the hardest part of it all. It's like 50% of the battle, just to be able to hang in there and stay in the game and enjoy the process.
Definitely that, but I would add to it because I experience a lot with people that come up and ask us, how do I be a voice actor or how do I get into it? And people that are attracted to the industry tend to think of the artistic side of it, the creative side of it, which is the most appealing. That's why everyone wants to become an actor or a painter or whatever is to get to sort of apply your trade as an artist. But like 80% of getting to work is the business side of it. Knowing how to promote yourself, learning how to navigate the agency scene, learning how to audition correctly, like all of that, like the less interesting stuff. That's actually what you spend most of your time doing. The ratio is different for everyone, but the average audition process, especially for voice work, you might get 1 gig out of every 100 things you audition for, and that's seasoned voice actors. Still, that ratio still applies. So definitely perseverance and patience. But man, if you want to get into voice acting, any creative endeavor, but particularly voice acting, study the business side of it. Study how to, because if you don't do it, someone else will, and they are happy to take work from you. So study how to promote yourself, how to cut a demo reel, all the things that don't seem as interesting about the business, or mastering those, or how you get to do the cool part. So stick with that and really study it.
Totally. I haven't been doing this for a terribly long time, but something that I dealt with recently that I think happens all the time when people start doing this is if you have a really good season or a period of time where you've got a lot of work, a bunch of roles, everything's going great, you're doing stuff all the time, that changes, right? It's never the same. So you may have a really good period of time and then you won't have as much work. And that first time that happens, I don't know about anyone else, but it kind of felt like I was a teenager again, and you're like, everything is wrong, this is
is terrible. I'm never gonna work again. Awful.
You know, and I think it's important to find a little bit of stoicism and just like, this is fine, just keep swimming, and you rely on what you studied and your knowledge of like, this is normal, this too shall pass, you just keep going. And that's difficult sometimes.
That's really difficult. Stoicism is really good, and gratitude. If you are actually working, it's such an important thing to keep in mind that, wow, we have this great job. Because there are these, horrible pills you have to swallow at times when, and I gotta say this carefully, because I think anyone with a SAG card should be allowed to act or whatever, but there'll be a point where you're doing projects and you get to a certain point, but you're not gonna get, if you're just a voice actor, they don't really consider you like an actor sometimes. They're like, well, no, we gotta get a famous person in. And there's nothing wrong with being a famous person, believe me, that's not the point. It's just, there's a point where you have to realize that there's a marquee value to some people, and that's how movies get done. And so, if you've been at this for a long time, you think, God, I've been doing scratch work, let's just say, and they really like you for this film, but you're gonna get replaced sometimes by somebody because they think everything has to be an all-star cast. And that's as Alanis Moore said, it's a jagged little pill you kind of have to swallow. Sometimes you get in, you break in, and they keep you on. But you gotta keep with the idea of like, I really just love in here to make films and do my stuff and just try to promote artistically what you do. In Japan, the voice actor, for example, is really respected. These guys have concerts. You would go to see a Billy West, Maurice LaMarche movie because those are great voice actors. Here, they won't do that. Here it has to be something that I've seen on TV and again, nothing wrong with that's the model, but if you are a voice actor, you have to deal with that. So that's an emotional challenge thing, and I think the only thing that comes through is just gratitude and loving the work. That's kind of gets you through that.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Thank you to the four of you. You guys do such a fantastic job with everything you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Soldier, stay frosty.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
Hello, guys. First and foremost, even though I just started playing the other day, I've been a fan of it from on, so I love you guys for it. And I'm Jake, Jake, oh man, Sebastian, best work ever. All right.
Don't stop, keep going.
Okay, I don't want to take up too much time. So, I think you guys already touched on this question just a moment ago. So, growing up, I was going through like a speech impediment, and I wanted to do voice acting someday. So, what would your advice be to someone to overcome your speech impediment and want to inspire some people to want to pursue voice acting? Even for a hobby or just for a career?
That's a really, let me jump in on that one, because you may not know this about me, I'm not sure if you do, but I had a speech impediment for most of my childhood, and it was so awful that I rarely spoke, because I had a really profound stutter. I used to carry around a little clipboard that I would write stuff on because it was easier than trying to get words out. And I literally found my voice on stage. There was something about pursuing acting. I had a speech therapist for a number of years, and she was really amazing. I grew up in Texas, but I have a very neutral accent because she was British. It's incidentally why British is so easy for me to do. It's also how I learned to speak. But there was something about, and this may not be the path for other people, but it certainly was for me, being on stage and getting to something about being able to commit what I wanted to say to memory and having it ready and then being able to say it in someone else's character. Like my speech impediment, we discovered, was kind of a function of me having trouble owning my own words. Like I just had trouble, I was really afraid of being judged, as everyone is all the time, I think. And it made it really difficult to speak because I didn't have confidence in my own voice. But when I was assigned a character, or when I won a role and got on stage, something about being in front of a bunch of strangers, like right now, freed me, and I'm like, I'm not Michael, I'm this character, and the voice would just come out. And it would be really interesting because I'd be on stage and deliver a monologue more or less perfectly, and then get off stage and barely be able to speak with a person one-on-one. So, but over time, my experience on stage got me comfortable with my voice. And so I do recommend, if you're brave, anyone that wants to try it, if you do struggle with a speech impediment, it's like anything, you just have to practice. You have to build up a comfort level, because I shouldn't generalize, But a lot of speech impediments or a lot of difficulties with speaking comes from a lack of confidence or from fear. You know, whether you realize it or not, it comes from some emotional block. And if you can work through those, and drama is a great way to do it, if you're just kind of focused on the art and not worried about making a living at it. When I was a kid, I didn't worry about that. I just, oh cool, I get to do this play. It's very freeing. One of the reasons Sebastian is so easy for me to do is because that's not my voice. It's just, it's a mask. You know, have you ever like been to a party, like a Halloween party, and you put on a mask and you'll totally walk with a swagger that you wouldn't have if you didn't have the mask on, because there's something about, you know, getting to be someone else for a few minutes that frees you up and gives you confidence. So things like that. I mean, I definitely think it's I don't think a speech impediment is necessarily an impediment to a voice acting career, because Alan Rickman, Snape, may he rest in peace, had a profound speech impediment.
James Earl Jones.
Darth Vader, for God's sakes, you know, had a speech impediment as a child. So it's no means an obstacle. You just have to. It's just one more layer of difficulty for some people, but it can give you. It can really, in some ways, it can be a blessing, because it really teaches you how to really invest in the character.
And notice those two actors you mentioned are really known for being incredible speakers.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, if you think about it. James Earl Jones.
Hey, you guys, happy holidays.
Hey, happy holidays. Great question.
Hello, it's an honor to meet all of you. This question is specifically for Fred and Charlotte. Besides your own characters, who is your favorite character or character design from Overwatch?
I always like the monkey. I think he's funny. I love them all for different reasons. And that diva, you know, I gotta love that.
Gosh. I always say, at least like relationally, I love the non-romantic ship between 76 and Diva, because I personally had a really hard childhood, and so I just think that it's really cool that within the context of a game that there are healthy relationships, whether they're like the gay couples in our game, or a healthy father-daughter relationship. So at least on the sort of relational level, that's one that I really like. I'm not going to comment on Lucio and Diva. I always tell him I have a boyfriend, but design-wise, I switch all the time, but right now I think I like May because it's winter. So May is Bay, you know?
Thank you so much for answering my questions. I love both of you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
I hope you're enjoying Orlando so far. I'm part of a voice acting club at UCF, and I just wanted to ask if you have any tips, tricks, or advice to bring back for my club.
Sorry, what was the last tips advice to do?
To bring back
Advice about voice acting?
Yes, just for like their future, or any hard difficulties or anything.
Oh, yeah, just never stop growing. You know, just record yourself. It's like music, just record yourself and keep hearing how you sound, and try as many stretches as far as you can. That's at least from an artistic point of view, I would say that's definitely something to bring back. Is that what you mean? Like questions like, what advice?
Yeah, what advice do you have?
Yeah, record yourself a lot and hear how